Jupiter Nite is filmed before a live internet audience.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Jupiter at Night, BETA9. My name is Chris.
My name is Jeremy.
Now, Jupiter at Night's all about the things that happened today, and yesterday, if you watched, we had a show all about how caffeine affects the brain.
And as a result of one of those big stories, I decided to take it upon myself to do a little experiment and go without caffeine. I said last night that I'd do it for a few days.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm going to make it.
You know, my wife said so, because I was getting myself a nice glass of a caffeinated beverage this morning, and my wife said, "Aren't you doing the caffeine thing with Jeremy?" And you know what I said? No.
That guy's crazy.
No way. I've been there, done that. I'll never do that again. But you made it a day. You had a headache. How you
I
feeling?
have had a headache all day.
You're pounding, right?
I still have it right now.
Well, people that watch the live stream, they almost saw you beat up the computer because the keyboard died. That was uncaffeinated Jeremy right there.
But besides that, I've also, I've just felt. I woke up at about 10:30 because I'm a big old lazy face, and I've honestly felt like I could not do a damn thing all day until about 3 o'clock. I finally started getting a little bit of energy, so got a few things done. And what is it, like 9:30? I'm done.
Yeah,
I'm done.
You ready to take a nap?
Yep.
Wow. Yeah. All right. Well, we'll get through the rest of the show real quick here, so you can take a little a little nap. So the Old Spice has been rocking the social media.
Hello, ladies.
Yeah, you got some pictures over here. Bring him up, and I'll talk about him a little bit. So this guy, you've seen the Super Bowl commercial and stuff like that. They've been rocking social media by monitoring Twitter and trying to figure out who's kind of like the influential people on Twitter, and then been customizing on the fly personalized messages back to people.
Yeah.
How about that?
Now, one of the big ones that came up the other day was Alyssa Milano. They had basically like a 3-step conversation between the two of them.
Alyssa Milano one was great too because
they actually sent her flowers.
Yeah. They did?
To her to her office. Yeah.
No, these ones are great because these are enjoyable because they're such a fast, lively turnaround.
Yeah.
So it's not just a static marketing campaign where somebody's spamming Twitter and stuff like that. They're actually responding to individuals, which is really awesome.
And responding to their actual questions with typos and all.
Yeah.
And in just hilarious manners.
So ReadWriteWeb, which is a great site, has an interesting article up right now about how these videos were actually produced. It turns out that it's just about as mundane as you expected. There really was a whole crew sitting around monitoring Twitter. I think they even had some customized software. That part, well, I call it mundane. I mean, it's because that's exactly what we're doing right now.
Well, you can get Twitter plugins and stuff that'll track that kind of stuff for you,
we
right?
can sit here and monitor Twitter, and we could turn something around. That's not too unusual. But what's unusual about it, I think, is that a traditional sort of what I would consider non-web savvy company just totally bought into this
body wash.
They hired this really clever team, the same guys that did the Super Bowl commercial, and they gave them this unprecedented freedom to really turn this stuff around almost immediately without supervision. Which is cool.
This is viral marketing of the new era.
But I guess they might have been doing it today some more. And
they did. I caught a few earlier before I had the energy to do anything else but look at the internet.
Well,
they're hilarious. They really are. I could just click and watch and chuckle and click and watch and chuckle.
Yeah, I guess
requires very little brain.
They're still funny to me, but it's already kind of fading a little bit for me.
Yeah, this isn't going to have a long lifespan.
No.
The only way that it could keep going is if they actually all of a sudden got him out of the bathroom and did something epic again.
If they could do like the whole live without any break kind of responses. Like where he walks. Have you seen the latest one where he walks through the kitchen?
Yeah.
And he saws off the...
Yeah. And then he drops the cake behind him and it's swan dive into the best night of your life. But you know what I didn't notice until I watched that again on accident today because I was too lazy to click off of it? Are you sensing a trend?
Yeah.
When he jumps into the tub, his shorts change.
Yeah.
I thought the whole thing was practical.
Well, they might have had shorts under shorts.
But then it wasn't shorts; it was jeans when he landed on the motorbike at the end.
Yeah,
I don't know how
seen what we're talking about. We'll try to remember to put a link in the show notes over at jupiterbroadcasting.com. But you've probably seen it. All right, let's move on because the topic of today. Well, we want to talk about that because it was an interesting, trendy kind of thing,
and it actually segues kind of. I mean, this is a new technologically focused way of marketing, and now we're going to talk about
even without caffeine.
I know it's starting to turn on a little bit, isn't it?
Yeah,
I think it's the internet. It's my natural caffeine.
So yeah, the whole idea here with this show's focus will be the future of connectivity for your computer.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought maybe we could talk about this in a few chunks, right? You've got some stuff that's way far out there, but awesome. Some stuff that's pretty close, and then some stuff that's actually being deployed today. And we're going to talk about 3 different ways that peripherals, either camcorders or USB drives, will be connecting to your computer.
Can you start with the one that's way out there then, or is that too big of a news?
No. We can talk about it. The one that's way out there is...
I just like the idea of bringing it home at the end to something that's now.
Sure, something... Okay, yeah, we'll end on something that's now. We'll go with something that's... I don't know exactly how far you'll say. It's coming along.
Oh.
And it's been demoed several times at several different types of events. But it's called LightPeak, and it's been introduced by Intel and a few other companies. And it's, as the name implies, it's based on fiber optics. Now, initially out of the gate, they're pitching for like camcorders, things like that, scanners, anything that requires a high bandwidth, high throughput kind of thing.
So if this were to theoretically replace something, what do you think they would be looking
Definitely
to replace?
Definitely FireWire, eSATA, but you could also replace USB for storage, right? Because if you could...
Right.
But it's a bit out right now. It right now is operating at 10 gigabits, and so they say that at 10 gigabits you could roughly transfer the contents of a standard Blu-ray in about 30 seconds.
That would be cool.
Yeah, well, they say that's today's limit, 10 gigabits, but they believe the technology easily has the legroom to go up to 100 gigabits. Yeah,
that's really fast.
Yeah, that's fast. So that's LightPeak, and it's being introduced by Intel. And the nice thing about LightPeak is that because it's being introduced by Intel, that means when it's ready to ship, it's going to be in every motherboard out there, regardless. So that's one thing.
Now, how about backwards compatibility? Is this the sort of thing that can work with existing wires or anything like that? No,
well, it's a whole new type of connector.
Right.
And it's a fiber optic cable.
Okay.
So, it's...
Would it be like the really big, thick ones that they have in the movies?
No,
have like
he's showing it right
lights?
now. It's really thin.
Oh.
It's really thin.
Darn.
So I don't know exactly what the timeline is on this one. So that'll be our first one because that's the one we have the least amount of sort of expected arrival.
But you can rest assured, we've kept our eyes on this now, so it'll probably be remaining on our radar.
Intel says we'll have a link in the show notes. Intel says that the actual individual components necessary for manufacturing will be ready in 2010.
Oh, this year.
When we'll actually see it in devices at a reasonable cost?
Consumer-grade devices? Yeah.
That could be more like 2012, maybe even 2013.
Oh, man.
Maybe. We'll see. It just depends on what kind of power.
No, then why are we even bothering this? The world's going to end in 2012.
Well, maybe we'll get our first devices. I don't know.
Maybe. Then we can film the end of the world with our light
Very
tech.
high resolution. Yeah. All right. Now, the next one that is a little bit further out, maybe almost as far as LightPeak, is a new standard. It's this one right here. This was over here on Slashdot today, and this really is what kind of inspired me to cover this whole kind of upcoming trend, and it is wireless PCIe. Now, PCIe is the PCI Express, right? That's the new type of interface that like your graphics card uses and things like that. It's really high bandwidth. You're talking 7 gigabits a second. So a ton of data, pretty much in line with the LightPeak. What's interesting about this, though, is it's going to be using 60 hertz wireless connectivity. So you will be able to have...
Isn't that the same as phones?
Phones are like 2.4 gigahertz.
Oh.
So this is 60 gigahertz.
Oh,
sorry, not hertz, gigahertz.
That's a lot higher.
Now, but, all right, so think about this. If you have that kind of bandwidth, though, you could be a laptop, and you could have a wireless video
a laptop.
Dell ships a unit now that is totally wireless charging, wireless display, wireless USB, and you just set the laptop down on the stand and it connects everything.
That's kind of cool.
This might be kind of within those same sort of parameters where you could have a laptop with a super low power video card built in, but when you're at home, maybe you have
set it on your dock or something.
Yeah, or depending on the range, it could literally just be off to the side.
Yeah.
Also, they're talking about the ability to take the type of data that is communicated over this PCI Express interface, and they're packetizing it. They're turning it into data. And so the idea would be that if it's a packet of data, they may also be able to transmit the same type of information over existing Wi-Fi networks. Now, that would be extremely slow, but that would mean that possibly, if the Wi-Fi device connected to Wi-Fi and your computer were on the same Wi-Fi network, any device on your Wi-Fi network could become a physical piece of hardware attached via a virtual PCIe interface.
As if it was actually interfaced directly into...
Only if it's on Wi-Fi, it'd be significantly slower.
Right.
Yeah. But
wow.
Is that kind of blowing your mind a little bit?
Well, that kind of brings cloud computing to kind of a next level.
Whoa, yeah, especially house cloud computing, right?
Yeah, like home networks and stuff.
Whoa, yeah.
How many computers do you have in this house? Not just the ones that we actually interact with, but you've also got a server.
I couldn't even count.
And yeah,
at least a dozen.
But if all of those could be somehow just like
too many
seamlessly, wirelessly integrated into a single system.
Now, I think this won't be so great for types of network communication. There's something about the technology where it's not really inherently great for that.
It's probably not very secure.
I don't know. Boy, I hope it's secure because, you know, who knows what you could be putting over that. But they're going to call it WPCIe, and it'll work totally transparently to the operating system.
Sounds like a radio.
Which, yeah.
WPCIe.
WPCIe.
Seattle.
Yeah, so it'll be totally transparent to the operating system because the way the drivers will work for this is that it will just show up as a PCI Express device, regardless of the fact that it's wireless. So there won't be any wireless management on your operating system, but that'll be handled at a hardware level.
That's nice.
Slick, right? So this is one of the things
I
got my eye on, but maybe you guys out there know a little more about this because I'm just starting to learn about this.
Something about this just doesn't sit right with me. I'm skeptical.
Like I know. I agree, right?
And I don't even know much about it, but it just seems like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Let's move on.
All right. Well, let's talk about the one that's really here pretty much today. It's now. You can buy devices with it right now.
This is now.
That's USB 3.0.
The future is now.
Now, USB, I guess USB, right, doesn't really have a reputation for being the performance machine. And the original spec was finalized in 1997, right? For USB, the original USB spec. In 1996, I'm sorry. And then this one came out, this USB 3.0 came out in 2007 is when they started working on it. So it's not like it's brand new, but it's finally getting finalized and it's actually shipping, right? Which is why we actually care. Now, not as fast as some of the other two we have just talked about. This one clocks in at 4.8 gigabits, but significantly faster than the USB 2.0 spec, which is...
I'm looking at a speed comparison right now just because I didn't know, but USB 2 says it's 3.2 gigabits.
Oh, okay.
And so this would be, it's not like doubling the speed or anything, but it's just a little bit faster. One of the major things that they talk about,
USB 2.0 was 480 megabits, and this is...
No, 320.
320.
And this is 480.
This new technology could... see, now here's where I have a limit. Here's where I have the limit, because it doesn't say... It says it has a theoretical max of 4.8 gigabits, but will never reach that theoretical maximum. It says in some cases as much as a 50% performance hit, but it's still a 10 times improvement over USB 2.0.
Well, speed is good.
The speed's good.
One of the best things about this, though, I think, is that this one is backwards compatible. They've already been basically saying that anything that accepts USB 3 can also be used on USB 2.
Yeah. So the actual USB 3.0 wire itself will only work in another USB 3.0 plug because it has a little extra.
Right, and if you've got a device that specifically requires USB 3, then it needs USB 3.
So USB 3.0. So here's how it's being used. The bandwidth that it provides is significant enough that one of the big companies in sort of our market is Blackmagic Design, and they make capture systems like the capture system we're using to capture video right now. And to capture your screen. And their new devices, their next generation of devices, which all used to be PCIe cards, their next generation devices are all going to be USB 3.0. And we're talking external, and we're talking super, super high data throughput requirements here. So they would not have taken this step unless USB 3.0 was up to this.
Yeah, unless it was up to snuff for their requirements.
I've also heard that if you take an SSD and drop it in a USB 3.0 external drive, the speed's crazy rocking faster because it's actually able to achieve a faster throughput than what you'll see on your SATA bus.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, then why don't they just replace them?
I don't know.
Why do we need a SATA bus?
I don't know if that's true or not. I'd actually like to hear from people out there in the audience. Maybe you've tried USB 3.0 and a SATA drive. You could give us some of your feedback if it really is faster. I'd like to know.
That would be fun.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that just about wraps up this episode. What do you guys think? What's your feedback on these future technologies? Are you playing with 3.0 right now?
These aren't even necessarily way in the future. I mean, 3.0 is theoretically here.
Yeah. I mean, are you playing with it? Have you tried anything? What's your thoughts? What are your first impressions? One of the things I'd also like to know is I know USB puts a pretty hard load on your processor. Does 3.0 put even a higher load on your CPU, like when you're doing large file transfers?
That's one of the things that this article didn't talk about.
Yeah.
Their major points were mainly power consumption and the fact that this handles it much better.
But I would be curious to know, because I always think about, like, well, what if I want to have maximum performance and I'm sitting there transferring files off an external USB drive? Am I going to have an overhead? So if you've tried it, I'd like to know. So let us know in the comments, or
you can go over to JupyterColony.com.
Exactly.
There is a subforum. It's kind of a lonely little subforum. Most of you guys just seem to comment on the live, and we love that, really.
Yeah.
We love your live interaction.
Yep.
It
and
keeps
of course,
distracting us.
You could join the chat room live. We're doing it every night this week. Well, actually, tomorrow will be the last night. Thursday will be the last night we do it live this week at 9 p.m.
And we will be fresh from the Diamond Knot, so a little tipsy.
We might stumble into the studio. Okay, everybody.
That'll be a fun show.
Well, thanks so much for watching tonight's episode of Jupiter at Night. We'll see you tomorrow night.